This video is about reading questions. It's really important that all interviewers read each question in the exact same way, and we'll get more into that in just a minute. First, I want to go over some terminology that we'll use in talking about this project. First, the questionnaire or the survey. This is a series of questions. These are the questions that the interviewers will ask. The interview is the survey between the interviewer and the respondent, the asking of questions, the conversation that happens. Interviewer, that's you, is the person who schedules and conducts the interview. And the respondent is the individual selected for participation in the interview. So these are pretty basic terms. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page when we throw around these terms, everyone knows what we're talking about. So as I mentioned in the beginning, it's critical to read each question exactly as it appears. Use the same words. So do not add, subtract, or change any of the words. Read the questions and the answer options in the same order that they appear in your questionnaire. And give the same words emphasis. If it's indicated in the questionnaire that a word is to be emphasized, then you should emphasize that word and no others. Reading each question clearly using a pleasant, neutral tone. We don't ever want respondents to think that they're being judged for their answers. Interviewers are just there to ask the questions and record respondents' answers. That's it. There's no judgment involved. Another point here is to not read too fast or too slow. The optimal speed is 2 to 3 words per second, which might feel slower than you talk, but it's important because respondents are just hearing you read something to them. They're not necessarily seeing it. They're hearing it for the first time. So it's important to give them a little bit of time to process what you're saying. So here's an example of reading questions in the same way, right? Here the question is, in what year were you born? And if one interviewer reads the question this way and another says, when were you born? And another interviewer says, how old are you? All these interviewers are asking the question in a different way, and we cannot say that this is valid, scientific, methodologically sound research, which is what we're trying to do. So it's really important that all interviewers read the question in the same way every time. Another type of question you might see is one like this, where there are 4 response options. So how important do you think it is to offer financial education to minors before they receive their big money payout? Very important, somewhat important, not very important, not at all important. 2 points here. It is critical to emphasize the words that are underlined. So we say, how important do you think it is to offer financial education to minors before they receive their big money payout? And put emphasis on the words important and before that are underlined. We want all interviewers to read these questions in the same way. So if one interviewer goes in and says, how important do you think it is to offer financial education to minors, and emphasizes a different word, the question can change meaning and respondents might understand it differently. Our job here is to make sure that, or do the best we can to give everyone the same stimulus, the same question, so everyone is exposed to the same material. In terms of response options, here we have very important, somewhat important, not very important, not at all important. And again, it's important to read all of them in the order that they appear. So it's very likely that you would get to, read 2 or 3 options in, and the respondent interrupts you and tells you that they think it's very important before you've given them all the options. It's not allowed. We really need interviewers to read all the options in the right order every time, and for respondents to hear all 4 options before they come up with their answer.